We're in 8.4 today, and we are going to talk about graphing and transforming quadratic functions. We actually have been graphing and doing a great job on that. I hope you feel confident and are practicing lots and lots in class. Just a quick reminder about parent functions. Remember, parent functions always go through the origin, okay? Whether it's a quadratic parent function like you see here, or if it's a linear parent function, it's going to go through that origin. That's what a parent function is all about. Now, our lesson today, example 1, we are going to compare the width of parabolas, W-I-D-T-H. How wide is our parabola? We're going to actually order them from very, very narrow to very wide, to the absolute widest in the group, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the absolute value of A, and here's kind of where your key is. It's a narrow parabola if A is greater than 1. Absolute value of A is greater than 1. So if it's a number that's pretty big, you know, we're talking 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, the bigger it's getting, the bigger that number is, the more narrow it's getting. That parabola is getting super skinny. So you can have some that are really wide like that, or you can have some that are really super skinny and maybe even skinnier than that, okay? So parabolas come in different widths. Some are very, very wide and some are very, very narrow. If it's narrow, then absolute value of A is bigger than 1, okay? If it's pretty wide, then the absolute value of A is less than 1. It's a fraction, okay? So think less than 1. It's not going to be negative. It's just going to be a fraction or just a little tiny decimal of some sort, okay? So let's look at example 1. I'm going to do a couple and let you do a couple. Let me look at that next page. I'll leave those for you guys. So let's look at A. We're going to order the functions from most narrow to the widest, narrow to widest, okay? First thing you want to do is you want to find the absolute value of each of your A's. So the absolute value of -2 is 2. Absolute value of 1/3 is 1/3. And the absolute value of 4 is 4. So you find the absolute value first, okay? We did that. Then we're going to put them in order from greatest, biggest, because that's the most narrow, biggest number to smallest number. So of your 3 choices, 2, 1/3, or 4, which one's the biggest number up there? Right, the 4. That's your most narrow parabola. Very, very narrow, probably like this, okay? So we're going to put that equation first. H of x is equal to 4x squared. There's your most narrow parabola. Okay, so of the 2 numbers, 2 or 1/3, which one's bigger? Hopefully you said 2. And we're going to put that next equation up. F of x is equal to -2x squared. That's narrow, not as narrow as 4x squared, but is still narrow. And then your widest is going to be the g of x. That's equal to 1/3 x squared. Okay, so this is most narrow on up to, we're getting wider. Okay, so let's do B, and I'll leave the other 2 for you to try. Okay, so we want to take the absolute value of 2, absolute value of -2. Well, we have a little peculiar situation here. We found their absolute values, but they have the exact same absolute value. So what does that tell you? Okay, and so they have the same width. One's not more narrow than the other. They have the same exact width. They just open up different directions, but that doesn't mean their widths are different. So when they both have the same absolute value, they are equally wide, okay? Little trickery there. I'm going to leave C and D for you to try. I'm going to give extra credit, 1 point for each one. Put these in order from most narrow to wide, narrow to wide. And then I'll come check your work tomorrow, okay? Plenty of space for you to show your work. Thanks for listening. Bring your questions to class.